All right. I don't know if we have anybody today. My page is a little bit different, so I am going to hope that we have visitors today. I don't know what Tyler's got set up, but I know it usually takes a few minutes for people to join us, so looks like yes, we're okay. Perfect. So, welcome to Facebook for Tuesday. Um, doesn't look like I am going to be able to see any of your chats for our Facebook right now because I don't have it on my screen. And unless Tyler comes down and rescues me. But we're going to assume that all you lovely people who usually join us for Facebook are there. And if you happen to miss us, then obviously you know it's recorded and you can always go back and check into it. So hopefully everybody enjoyed a wonderful, wonderful last day of kind of summer. Hopefully summer's not completely over with yet, but yes, the last day of August, which means September's coming tomorrow, and hopefully everybody is starting to think in terms of cooler weather, starting to think in terms of maybe a little bit of coziness needed. I know here at the store we certainly are, as you can see from this nice display behind me. We have just stocked up on our Cuddle kits to the extent where you can actually save some money on Cuddle kits because, as the sign says, I'll lean over so you can see it, our Cuddle kits are currently buy two and get one free, and they are a great, great way of putting together a simple little gift, a simple little cuddly blanket for yourself, for a friend, for a grandchild. And so I thought for today we would talk a little bit about working with Cuddle because it can be a little bit intimidating. A lot of what we like about Cuddle, the fact that it's soft, the fact that it's on a knit backing, so it has a little bit of give to it, can also make it just a wee bit harder to handle. So first of all, I'm going to show you just a couple of the cute kits that we got in. You can see from the samples behind me, those are a couple of them. I kind of thought Mr. Fox here looked particularly cute, so we'll hold him up. That looks really good on the screen there. And it's, if I turn it around, you can see it's just a basic, simple kind of a striped quilt that it makes, but that's a really cute one. This guy Dawn has got up on the display behind us here with the turquoise, that one right there. And those look like mermaids. What little girl wouldn't love a Cuddle kit with mermaids on it? This is another new one right there. That one is lovely and bold and bright when you see the colors there. And again, if I pop it around, you can see very simple piecing on that one. Let's bring it down under the other camera here. Maybe if I focus it right in there, you can see these are actually rainbow stripes and little clouds and rainbows on that printed piece of Cuddle in there. But just in case you think that, oh, maybe it's only just for kids, I don't think so. This is one of the bigger kits here. Just hold that up. You can't see too much on there, but if I spin this one round and hold it up for you, you can see that that is the center panel with a grizzly bear on it, and then just simply pieced around it. So that would be a great gift for maybe an older grandson. Um, they're lovely, they're soft, they can be a little bit tricky to work with. So I thought between today and next time, I'm going to give you some pointers on working with Cuddle so that if you want to make up a couple of these little quilt kits for special people in your life, you won't have any issues with it. So let's get started. I'm going to switch this over to our close-up camera here. So this is just a little strip of the pink camouflage, because who doesn't like pink camouflage, eh? Pink camouflage Cuddle. And you can see as I stroke it, I don't know if you can maybe see this edge. It has it's a pretty good 3/8 of an inch nap on it, we call it. So when I stroke it in one direction, it's very soft and smooth. But if I stroke it in this direction, you can see how it sort of fluffs up. And that's kind of important when you're putting your kits together or you're piecing Cuddle, maybe for a quilt backing, to get that nap flowing in the same direction. If I wanted to sew two pieces of this together the way we ordinarily would off the bolt, what I would have to do is cut it apart and reverse one so that I had the nap going in the same direction. So lovely and soft on the front side. And then when I turn it over, you can see that Cuddle is actually a knit fabric. It doesn't have a lot of stretch, but it has a little bit of stretch to it. Not so much in that direction. Now, what a lot of people don't like about working with Cuddle is when you cut the Cuddle with your rotary cutter. So I'm going to take and I'm going to trim off this selvage with my rotary cutter and show you what can happen, because remember, we got all these fuzzy things here. So slice, slice, and you end up with fuzz all over. And it's soft and it's fluffy and it's messy and it gets everywhere, and everybody knows you've been cutting Cuddle. So I was doing a little bit of research today, and I discovered the absolutely super easiest way of cutting Cuddle. And would you believe it's with one of these? Now, I'm used to trimming and cutting fabric with nap. I've worked with fake fur, I've worked with all kinds of fabric with nap on it. And usually what we would do is take a very fine pair of scissors and come in just under the edge here like this, and very carefully try to cut only the backing fabric. And then you could separate it without too much of a fuzz. But this, I think, works even slicker. So we're going to start at the top here. I'm going to make a mark, or maybe I won't mark this one just yet. I'm just going to cut a small strip off of this. So I'm going to take my good old X-Acto knife. Now this is a large X-Acto knife because it's what we had around the store. You don't have to use anything this big. One of the small ones, one of the small blades that you might use for paper crafts, works just as well. And you're going to put a little pressure on your Cuddle, and you're just going to cut. You're not going to press down too hard. Just draw a nice, easy straight line. And when you get that far away, you can move your hand. Slide that right down. You do have to have a nice sharp point on your blade. Every once in a while you'll miss. And right up to the top. And to get that last little piece, I can turn it around and come in from the other direction. And there's a little tiny strip cut off with absolutely no fuzz on the cutting mat. That I thought was just an amazing little tip from the Shannon Cuddle people on cutting Cuddle. And I think from now on, that's what I'm going to do. So, what are we going to make out of our little sample of this lovely pink camouflage Cuddle? I think what I'm going to do, I miss seeing your comments. Tyler, where are you? Oh well. I think I'm just going to make a small, maybe a 12 by 12 little pillow and put some stuffing in it. Maybe put a button on it. So today we're going to show you the basics of cutting your Cuddle. And next time, possibly on Thursday, I'm going to give you some pointers on sewing Cuddle, because that can be a little bit tricky as well. The things we love about it, the fact that it's soft and slippery, can make it a little bit more challenging to sew. So for today, how are we going to cut our Cuddle? Well, we already know we're going to likely use our X-Acto knife. The first thing I'm going to do is actually mark the back side of the Cuddle, because it's such a shifting kind of fabric. I can't guarantee that as I try and cut on this side and then on that side, that it's going to stay straight. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark right here. This is a 12-inch ruler, so I think I'm going to make about a 12-inch cushion. So I'm going to take, yes, a good old Sharpie marker, and I am going to mark on the back of the Cuddle a straight line. Now, of course, if I wanted to go a little bit bigger, I could move my ruler down, so I could come down about an inch, we'll say. Maybe not. We'll just go maybe the ½ inch. Now, you don't want to slide your ruler too much, especially with larger pieces of Cuddle, because it's so slippery, you can actually move it. So you want to lift your ruler and move it down, mark to the corner. So now we're 12½ inches. Rotate your ruler, line it up, mark. And I'm not putting much pressure on my Sharpie marker, because again, I don't want to distort the fabric. Move it down slightly and put that extra ½ inch in. Then we'll go up to the top like that, line that up neatly, hold the ruler still, and because I'm not pressing down on my Sharpie and I'm not holding it still in any one spot, it's not transferring through to the front. Lift a bit, move it down for the ½ inch, right there. Now, all being well, I can join up those two lines. Right. Oops, let's have a look here. There we go. Shift that down. I was really surprised when I was doing the research for this that you would use a Sharpie marker on your fabric for one and mark it. But when you stop and think about how much this fabric can move on you, it makes perfect sense. So now I'm going to cut this out. On a knit, you've got this direction, and you can see that doesn't stretch a whole lot. This one is going to stretch a little bit more. So I want to cut this way first. It's the least stable. So let's shift this like that. Take my X-Acto, pop it in right at the corner, and draw it down that line. Now, you can see how it's puckering a little, I can just go slowly. And the nice thing about these fabrics is they're very forgiving. We are so used to, in the quilting world, having to be so perfectly exact that we worry a bit about cutting other fabrics. However, this, because it moves and shifts, you've got a little play, a little bit of leeway. So now I'm just going to ease that apart. Check any spots I have missed. Have to admit, Miss Dawn's X-Acto knife is perhaps not the sharpest one. So it's okay to have to go over your cut mark. Go. And just a bit there. Okay, there's one side. Now I can go to this side right here. And because I have that little extra and I can hang on to it there, I have something to pull against. And you will find, you can see how cutting with the stretch, it moves along a lot faster. There we go. Let's go over and do this part here. Since I can't see your comments popping up today, if you have any questions, Anne is away and Leah is away right now. So our education at mysewingroom.ca emails are probably not going to get through to me right away. But if you want to send me an email, you can send it to longarm@mysewingroom.ca, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions. There we go. So here's the other side where we are literally cutting across the stretch. There we go. Little strip at a time. So you can see, if you were making a large quilt or one of our Cuddle kits, that you could easily cut the strips out. A lot of them are just pieced strips, and the beauty is in the texture of the fabric and the print of the fabric. There we go. So we can move this out of the way. Double check for any wee spot that might have not quite cut through. One little guy there. One little guy there. And pop that out. You can see how the threads even just hold it together. Swing it around. And we have our first little 12.5 inch piece cut out. There we are. Nice and neat. No great gobs of fuzz floating around the sewing room. There is one piece ready to go. So I am going to mark and cut a second square, exactly the same, so that I can turn this into a cute little cushion for some deserving person, someone like maybe, I don't know, somebody who needs a soft, cuddly cushion. And I'm going to leave a small gap. I could use that as my edge if I wanted, but because I want to make sure that I have this as square as I can get it, I'm actually just going to come over that little bit. I'm going to mark this edge and come down 1/2 inch. Look. Swing that around. So just in case you're wondering, since I do the long arming, I often get a lot of questions about things like Cuddle, or fireside fleece is another one. Can they be used for quilt backings? And yes, they certainly can. They make amazing quilt backings. They're very soft. The one thing you do have to take into consideration if you're wanting to use them on a quilt for a backing is that with all of those fluffy fibers on the front surface plus your backing, you actually have what amounts to a lot of thread. So they can be quite a bit heavier physically in weight. So they're probably best for smaller quilts, quilts for little guys. Definitely, because they're 100% polyester, they are washable. But I would be careful about using a Cuddle backing on a very large quilt, unless you don't mind that additional weight that the fabric is going to bring to the quilt. The quilting shows up beautifully on the solid color Cuddles. It's amazing. There we are. So now I'm working on my second little pillow, and you can see how easily this cuts. That along, one little guy there. It's like it's just popping right open. There we go. Two. We'll pop it this way. There we are. So if you were working on one of these little Cuddle kits, you can see it's not going to take you really any longer to get the pieces cut than if you were using your rotary cutter. You're just using a slightly different technique to cut this. More little strip here. Okay, and having that line to follow, these are coming out really nice and straight as they can be with cutting a knit fabric, because I can put the pressure on, draw my blade straight down. And there we are. There is our second little square, all set and ready to go. So that is how easy it is to cut your Cuddle in preparation for whatever project you want to do with it. I think, as I say, next time we're going to sew these guys. We'll show you another really handy tip from the Shannon Cuddle people on sewing your Cuddle strips together. And then hopefully you can take advantage of our buy two get one free offer on our Cuddle kits and make up a batch of them. Peachy is talking to us from, I think this side is our YouTube feed, which is lovely. Peachy wants to know, does Cuddle fabric pill after washing? I don't believe it does. If you follow the washing instructions on the packages, let's see if there's instructions on the kit. Machine wash Cuddle in cool water, no liquid fabric softener. Okay, so it should not pill. These fibers on your Cuddle are single strand. They're not a twisted fiber. And because the knit part is on the inside, it's nice and slick. It doesn't have anything to rub against. So I haven't personally tried it. Might be a good experiment with some of my scraps, and we can get back to you on that one. But I don't think it does. It's made purposely for lovely cuddly blankets for little guys, which of course you want to wash. Thanks for asking that, Peachy 3435. Hi. I'm not sure where you're joining us from, but it is nice to see you online with us today. So that's what we have for you today. And as I say, Sandy has something wonderful in store. What did she say she has in store for us for tomorrow? She's going to be talking about some wonderful back to school bags. Yes, it is back to school time. I know here in Alberta, some kids are already back in school. Some kids are starting this week, some kids next week. It depends on what grade level and what system they're in. So yes, back to school time is upon us. Hooray! And just a reminder, Summer of Savings, your last opportunity to get in on our Summer of Savings. Spend $50 online and be entered for our weekly prizes, and of course for our grand prize, Brother sewing machine, that we are going to make the draw for right after the long weekend in September. So one last opportunity, and our Cuddle kits would certainly fit that bill. Depending on the size, you're going to be just over your $50 limit on that one. And it's a good way to get a head start on those Christmas gifts. So that's what I have for you today. I hope everybody has enjoyed that. Next time we'll make sure that Tyler gets the comments up so I can talk to everybody. It feels a little bit more like I'm actually talking to people. And so Thursday we'll do some sewing on our Cuddle. A few tips on that one to make your life easier. Until then, everybody, enjoy the last bit of nice summer weather that we've got. We could use a little bit of rain here in Calgary, so hopefully we will get that. Till then, take care, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and cuddle up to somebody you love tonight.